legislators have, 40 minutes to look at it before they take a 2 a.m. vote on May 31st. So budget season is now till May 31st or the morning of June 1st, maybe.
It is crazy to think about how fast they're reading this budget. It's like 200 pages a minute or something. But tell me, when you're looking at the budget, what are the main factors that go into it? What are the revenue sources? What are the expenditures? What makes up the state budget?
So the full state budget is incredibly complex. It includes allocation of state funds through the most common piece that we talk about, which is the general revenue fund. And that funds most of the normal operations of the state. There's also the state appropriating federal funds, which are monies that come through the state from the federal government. Some of those are for programs that the state has some control over. Others it's merely pass through, and the state doesn't have a lot they can do to it. There's also a whole group of things called other state funds, or OSF, as opposed to general revenue funds, or GRF. So in the other state funds, there are literally hundreds of different state funds that are collected from various kinds of fees or transfers. Sometimes it's a very narrow scope. You pay a fee for a license to be issued to you and you get that back. So some things are very narrow. Other of those funds are pretty large and they can be swept to pay for other purposes. But really, there's hundreds and hundreds of different things to keep in mind. So one of the things that I think is important is trying to narrow that a little bit to what are the real important funds that we should be paying close attention to. And that's in the state's general revenue fund budget. There's really the big three sources of revenue there. So it's personal income tax, corporate income tax, and sales taxes. Those comprise the vast majority of the revenues that the state of Illinois brings in. And so just for some reference here, our projections for this upcoming fiscal year from the Governor's Office of Management and Budget, personal income taxes, about $28.5 billion. Corporate income taxes, about $4.5 billion. And sales taxes, about $11 billion. So just for some perspective there, and sometimes there's proposals talking about revenue that, is in the tens of millions of dollars. While important, the real areas you want to focus on: personal income tax, corporate income tax, and sales tax.
You have to have people doing things, working and buying things then.
Absolutely. And that's why when you see some changes in the economy, it can hit us in all three of those categories. If you lose a business, you're losing corporate income tax, you're losing employees of that business who pay personal income tax, and you're losing those people going out and spending the money, which generates sales tax. One thing I noticed too is in the last couple of years, the state has begun relying more and more on revenue from the lottery, sports wagering, gambling, casino expansion. Some of those funds are earmarked for specific purposes. But as you look to those sources together, it's billions of dollars at state each year. And it's a growing and a bigger crutch, I think, that the state's relying on in many of these years.
Is that a good practice?
Probably not. It's probably better to confine those towards, a specific purpose, like, paying a bond for something. We know that gambling revenues can fluctuate depending on the economy too. So you want to be a little careful on that. But there's been an expansion of all of those programs. And so the revenue sources have been growing, and it's becoming a more important piece of the state budget than it was 10 years ago.